Are Tar Noone and Chuck Morgan paid agents within the conscious community? James West aka Tar Noone Nupu, leader of the Noonebus, has over the years routinely lied and concocted allegation after allegation against the followers of Dr. York for his purpose to bringing down the Nuwaubian movement. What follows is a recording in which James West aka Tar Noone Nupu informs lies against the Nuwaubian organization to a law enforcement, New Jersey police detectives in 2017. Using the false pretense of being a concerned member of the public, Tar Noone pretends to law enforcement that is worried about the welfare of the young child, Amory Daniels, who was allegedly physically abused by his mother's partner or stepfather, Prince York, the son of Nuwaubian leader Dr. Malachi Z. York.
This is he.
Yes, how you doing, sir? I know you probably got a couple of calls already about the little boy Amory Daniels, or dude that was a victim of child abuse. And
I got one call from a woman who said she was a friend of the family.
Right.
Because she was a friend, I couldn't release any information.
Right. And well, I'm a person. Well, basically, I'll consider myself a homegrown advocacy of the situation. I used to, because the child is the son of a female that's part of a cult I used to be in from 95 to 2010, and I got out. And so
what cult is that?
It's called Nuwaubians. That's what they're called.
How do you spell that?
Nuwaubians, and it was started by Dr. Malachi Z. York, also known as Dwight York.
Okay.
And he was born in Boston, but he was a career criminal from the late 60s all the way. He started in Brooklyn, and then they moved down to Georgia after they left upstate New York, and like in the mid 90s, and he went down there in Edenton and had the pyramids, and they ended up finding out that he was abusing those children, and they arrested him, Sheriff Seals, about like May 8th, 2002. And
all right, anything was N-E-W-A-P.
No, it's Nuwaubian. Nuwaubian.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, with an S. And also, matter of fact, you use the same word, right? Just write it again, and put .com on it. Matter of fact, put Nuwaubianism. I'm sorry, after the N, put ISM.com. And this is it's another friend of mine named Chuck Morgan, who also is a ex-member, who that website is dedicated to all of the documents, the jail records from the past, what happened in the court case, the information that they're teaching. And the reason why I'm contacting to you is just to get some type of confirmation that something is going on as far as the case, because they have the core teachings is they're doing something that's called the Golden Child, where they actually are grooming children that have mental problems like ADHD and things of that nature, and they're doing rituals with these children. Okay, this.
All right, but here's my you're not related to this child, though.
No, I'm somebody who used to be a part of the cult, and what I do is I have a YouTube dedicated to putting out the information to the public about what they're doing. So I understand the legal part of what you're saying. I just wanted to know if somebody is on the case, if somebody's looking.
Can you tell me the names of everyone again? I know you said Amari.
Right.
What's the mom's name?
Shanice Daniels.
How old is Amari?
Amari should be about 5 years old. The sister went on Facebook a couple of days ago and just blurted out all this stuff that Quincy Richardson, which is the actual son of the pedophile that's in jail, I was telling you about, Dwight York, she just came out on Facebook and just blurted out all of this stuff, and we was over there taking this information and communicating with her, and then she was receiving threats, and so I think she just like took a page down. But I have a list of family members and also live videos where they're telling you about the abuse that they took under the father, and how he had them living in barns and stuff like that, while he was living up the land, up the hill in $1 million mansion. So when you look into this case with Amari being abused by the son, it's the same scenario. So that's what we're trying to do, is spread awareness and help the authorities expedite this situation. That this is not a random somebody just beating a child for whatever reason. It's a ritual abuse thing, is what I'm trying to explain. So
okay.
All right. So all
right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That is very helpful, and now that I did a search and I actually found out the last names are different.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in touch with the detective on the case.
Okay.
All right. Is this the best number for?
Yes, this is my cell number.
All right, hang on 1 second. And where are you located?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
All right. Do you have any first-hand knowledge of Amari being abused? Or you can just give like sort of background information about Shanice for it?
Right, just background information. Anything that the detective need, I can forward him video footage that we've been doing, because we're covering this very big now. We have a couple of groups on YouTube where we do Google Hangouts, where we actually meet on a panel and we discuss how to expose this group. It's not all of them, it's because the teachings vary, but I deal with the core teaching. And because of when you look up Dwight York and look at what he was arrested for outside of money structuring and all of that, his whole thing was around child abuse, and he started teaching this golden child thing, which he just drafted from various places, and he has certain people in his group in the hierarchy funneling this type of information. And so since his son and a lot of them who are mentally programmed to believe that he's some type of a god incarnate, that's why they're doing what they're doing. So that's why I'm just stressing this to you and to the detective. This is not just this person is just an angry man and he just beating his child. It's for a purpose. They believe if they put the child under serious stress, the child will become special. Okay, so that's why I just want to stress that as much as I can.
Yeah, I'm glad you're calling. And now the woman who called me this morning, she said she was a nurse. Right,
I know her. Yes, Khadijah. Yes, I know her. We speak.
Who is she now?
She's also someone who's an advocate as far as well, because we all part of the same group, and so we have constant communication. It's a lot of us, and we definitely want to help and assist y'all as much as we can. This cult is very serious. It's a serious situation here.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for calling. And
you know how long it'll be before I may hear from someone?
I'm not sure. The name of the detective who's assigned this case is. I gotta figure out if he's in or not. Not sure if he's in now or if he'll be coming later this afternoon.
Okay. Because by the time I got this information, I called. It was on the weekend, so I had to wait till Monday.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. We're following this real close, because a lot of times, even though the father was instructed not to have any contact with his criminal organization because it fell under the RICO and the money structure, and he has a lawyer that still is funneling his conversations out to his followers, and that's online as well. So it's a lot of rules he's breaking on top of that. But we just, again, I don't know if anybody want to go that further and contact the bar association and all that stuff, because I'm not really into that. I'm just more concerned about the mental state of these children and the teachings, because I keep up with the teachings. That's how we know what we're looking for.
Not in until 4 o'clock, but I'm going to send him an email now.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask him to give you a phone call today.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate
it. All right. Well, thank you. Anything we can do to help keep children safe or maybe get them out of harm's way is very much appreciative. And obviously, it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. I really am. I really do. And I want to make sure that the people that we talk to understands everything going as much as we can. And we, like I said, we respect the case and the thing. We just wanted to make sure that something is being done, and that Quincy Richardson right along, and if the mother is just as guilty,
As you can clearly hear from the recording, James West aka Tar Noone Nubu was more than delighted to divulge false information about the Nuwaubian movement, which was totally unrelated to any so-called abuse allegation against Prince York. Tar Noone was then able to manipulate this in his favor to cause the subsequent arrest and charging of Prince York for child abuse and endangerment of a minor. Following Prince York's arrest, an immediate character assassination campaign was then launched against him by the mainstream media, accusing him of being a child abuser like his father, which was also clandestinely orchestrated or led by Noone leader Tar Noone. Tar Noone Nubu was again able to help facilitate this by providing further false information to the media about Prince York, which resulted in a number of news articles, such as the one which appeared in the Jersey Journal, by Michelangelo Conti, dated March 22, 2017, entitled, "Man Charged with Child Abuse is Son of Black Supremacist Cult Leader Serving 135 Years. Quote, Jersey City. A Jersey City man accused of burning and beating a 5-year-old boy is the son of a black supremacist cult leader currently serving 135 years in prison for child molestation, racketeering, and other offenses. Ramesses Richardson, 19, was arrested on March 10 and charged with beating the son of his girlfriend with a belt and leaving whip marks, as well as burning the boy's hands with hot water and locking him in a bathroom overnight multiple times. A number of sources have identified Richardson as the son of Dwight D. York, 71, the founder of the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors. York, who is serving his sentence at the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado, went by several names including Dr. Malachi Z. York, while leading the Nuwaubian movement, which has its roots in Brooklyn. Source, Michelangelo Conti, Jersey Journal, March, 2017. Tar Noone Nubu discussion with the police detective, mostly focused on providing law enforcement with the most preposterous and slanderous accusations of child abuse rituals and grooming leveled against the entire Nuwaubian movement, solely for the purpose of bringing the group under further investigation by the law enforcement authorities to suit his own wicked, twisted and hate-filled agenda of seeing the Nuwaubians organization completely destroyed. Notice how during the conversation with the police detective, James West aka Tar Noone Nubu also makes reference to his friend Chuck Morgan's website as being a place where law enforcement can do further background research about the Nuwaubians, which is confirmation that both he and fellow former ex-Nuwaubian Chuck Morgan are indeed in cahoots and supplying information to law enforcement and mainstream media agencies about the Nuwaubians, as well as possibly other black organizations, verifying the lengths some of Dr. York's enemies are willing to go to satisfy their own personal hate-filled agendas. Notice also, that when questioned by the detective whether he knew the previous caller, he slightly hesitated before confirming that they were both, quote, working together and that they both, quote, have constant communication. There's a lot of us. This was because this previous caller, who claimed to be a nurse, also posing as a concerned member of the public, was in fact also part of his own Noone group, entirely orchestrated by Tar Noone to also raise the issue with law enforcement for the purpose of bringing the Nuwaubians under further investigation from the authorities. This child abuse allegation against Prince York were all part of Chuck Morgan and James West aka Tar Noone Nubu's well-planned and coordinated agenda to undermine, discredit and destroy Dr. Malachi Z. York's legacy. This incident provides us with first-hand insight into some of the underhanded tactics and strategies employed by these black devil snitches and informers with the black conscious community, like Chuck Morgan and Tar Noone Nubu, who have infiltrated the black conscious community and hate Dr. Malachi Z. York and his movement. This is also a good example of some of these exact same tactics which may have been employed by York's enemies, which brought about his arrest and conviction on concocted child sexual abuse allegations and the subsequent seizure, removal and destruction of the Nuwaubian property back in 2005. As previously outlined, Tar Noone Nubu is determined to completely destroy and discredit the Nuwaubians along with anyone associated with the movement, in order to provide legitimacy for himself and his own fledgling movement, for the purpose of gaining notoriety and making money. In truth, the Nuwaubians are a bunch of phonies, charlatans, con artists and black devils who only pretended to adopt no science as a way to enrich themselves so they can sell fake Afrocentric books, socks and t-shirts, under the pretext of promoting African liberation, when in reality they are just liars and police informants in disguise, who have infiltrated the black conscious community.
For further information about Chuck Morgan, Tar Noone and the Noone, please refer to the book, Lightning from the East, The Rise and Rise of Dr. Malachi. Z. York or Adifa Taharka Nicole L. and the Universal Yoruba Nation Debates the Noonebus, now available from Amazon.com.